How's it going, everyone? My name is True Wonder Dog, and today we're talking about the update changes for Kollector. Very similar to Devora, this character got a ton of changes, and thankfully they're mostly buffs. Which is good, because before this patch, a lot of players, including myself, thought this character was easily one of the worst in the game. And thanks to a lot of these changes, he definitely does feel more viable. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first up, we have his Vial of Sorrow. Now it does less damage each tick, however the effect lasts for much longer. So even though each tick does less damage, it stays around for longer, so overall it still hurts the opponent more. And next up, the Bag Bomb now has more damage scaling when connecting with Vial of Sorrow. And that's actually a nerf, which means all the hits coming after the explosion will do a bit less damage than before. And I'm not entirely sure why the developers wanted to do that, since one of the main goals of this patch was to make Variation 2 better for most characters. So even though this nerf isn't that big of a deal, I don't see why you'd want to nerf it at all, since this build is already very unpopular. However, on the bright side, Demonic Mace did get a lot better. For starters, it's faster, and now starts up in 29 frames instead of 34, so that's a very good thing. And it also now has 3 different versions of block stun depending on how long you charge it. So in other words, by default, it's minus 14 on block. But if I charge it a bit, it's now minus 9. And if I charge it even more, it's now minus 4. So if I fully charge it, it's not even punishable on block, even if I'm right in the opponent's face. And honestly, even level 2, if you're a bit further away, minus 9 or even minus 8 is still completely safe as long as the opponent is pushed back. So even if you're really close, level 2 can be enough to keep yourself safe. Minus 9 with that much space is still really good on block. So you don't always have to fully charge it to keep yourself safe. Just a tiny charge will be more than enough. And of course, a more aggressive player is going to press buttons and interrupt you, but if you're fighting someone who's a bit more timid, you can likely cancel into this, and they will choose to block it, which will keep you safe. And these changes also apply to the up Demonic Mace as well. So by default, minus 14, charge it a bit, it's now minus 9, fully charge it, and it is minus 4. So similar to the regular mace, the up mace also has 3 different levels of block stun depending on how long you charge it. And the Bola is now different as well. The hitbox is slightly smaller when it's not used during a combo. However, when used during a combo, the hitbox is now a little bit bigger. So in other words, it's going to be a little bit tougher to catch the opponent if they randomly jump. They have a much better chance of getting over it. However, when used during a combo, the hitbox is actually bigger, which means you're much less likely to miss as long as you've already hit the opponent. And these next changes have to do with Kollector's attack strings. So Blood Money now has 1 more active frame, 1 less frame of recovery on miss, and had its hit region adjusted. So if you do whip this move by accident, the opponent doesn't quite have as much time to punish you, which is good. It is a jab combo. It shouldn't have too crazy of recovery. It's one of his fastest punishes, so it makes sense it should recover a little bit faster. And having 1 more active frame is also very good as well. Mine now has more combo damage scaling, which means to end a combo it's going to do a little less damage. However, on the bright side, it can now cancel into Fatal Blow, which is very good because by default, it can't even cancel into special moves, so it wasn't really that useful, even at all. But now at the very least, it can combo into Fatal Blow, and since it does leave the opponent standing, this is a very good change. Greed now has a slight hitbox adjustment, so I imagine it's a little bit better, a bit more consistent. The follow-ups no longer miss, which is a good change. And Take It All has had its Crushing Blow recovery adjusted, so I imagine that means you recover quicker than before. So I can walk forward pretty quickly after doing it, but can we do a jump combo? Ooh, we can. I bet in the corner it's even easier, so that's pretty nice. I'm not sure if you can do any follow-ups afterwards, but if so, that has me very excited. Anyone who watches this channel regularly knows how much I love my jumping combos, especially in Mortal Kombat 11. Death Spin had its hit region adjusted, so hopefully that means it's better, but I didn't play Kollector very much. I am noticing that follow-up does seem to miss quite a bit. I hope it's not worse than it was before, because I really like this move in certain matchups, especially against characters like Aaron Black. It just destroyed his boot drop from nearly any distance, and now it seems like that second hit is more likely to whiff, so hopefully it didn't get a nerf, but that is kinda what it looks like. And Corrupted Kick can now be cancelled on block, and not just on hit. So now you can cancel into your mace maybe, and if the opponent blocks it, you're fairly safe. And Paid in Full got a lot of changes. So for starters, it's now 13 frames on startup, and it was 12 before, so it's 1 frame slower. And it also behaves differently when hitting an airborne opponent, so let's go ahead and see that. Oh, it knocks them really far away, so if they're airborne, they're knocked pretty far back. So that's a pretty big change. It also has 10 more frames of block stun, so what is it on block? It's minus 12. So it's still fully punishable up close, but not as much as it was. It has a lot more block stun and more pushback as well. And last but not least, the hit region has been adjusted, so it's a bit more consistent when comboing. With Interest also behaves differently on airborne opponents. Oh, it still connects though. That third hit still reaches. I didn't think it would because they're pushed so far back after that second hit, but it looks like the third hit does still connect. And this move also has 10 more frames of block stun, but it's still minus 12 on block, and also has more pushback, but it's still punishable by a lot of characters. Maybe some characters can't punish you when they're this far away, but a lot of characters can, especially characters like Noob Saibot, Sub-Zero, all those characters, but against some characters maybe you can keep yourself safe with that third hit. And then the last hit, Taken Deny, has 2 more active frames. It also has more pushback, and it has 10 more frames of block stun. It's still minus 20, but there's a lot of space to work with here, so a lot of characters actually can't punish this, but once again, characters like Sub-Zero definitely can. And this next string also got a bunch of changes as well. So for the very first hit, Malice Mace, the special cancel is now 1 frame later, but on hit, it recovers 6 frames faster. So on hit, it's plus 11, pretty good stuff. And then on block, it has more pushback and more block stun. So let's go ahead and see what it's like on block. So now it is minus 6, that's not bad at all. That is completely safe on block and a lot of space between you and the opponent as well, so this is now a really, really good poke. The second hit also starts up faster as well, it's 23 frames instead of 26, and it reacts differently now on airborne opponents. Gotta get to the corner I think for this one because otherwise we can't tell, they're knocked too far away. So let's get to the corner and see how it behaves. Oh, it knocks them straight to the ground. How about the follow-up? Does it launch? No, you don't get the follow-up if they're in the air. Okay, so unfortunately you don't have access to that third hit if they're in the air. Fair enough, fair enough. And this move also recovers 1 frame faster on hit or block, which is very nice. And then on whiff, it also recovers 6 frames faster. That's a really good change. And this third hit has arguably the best changes. So for starters, it's a little bit faster now. It starts up at 19 frames now instead of 20. However, on hit, this is now a combo starter, which is crazy. Now, of course, if you're closer, you're gonna get a much better combo. But keep in mind this move is now much more unsafe on block to compensate, so you don't just want to dial in the full string, do the first 2 hits, if they land, do your third hit, but if not, you really don't want to finish this string because it's very unsafe on block now. So let's go ahead and see now just for fun, that last hit is minus 20 on block, so even at max distance, that's not good. A lot of characters can punish minus 20, so even though it's a great combo starter now, it's also much more punishable on block. So once again, it's just a hit confirm. Do the first 2 hits, if they land, do your third hit, but if not, leave the string where it is because it's much safer on block. And Kollector's Uppercut also got a bit better as well. It has 2 more active frames, and it also recovers faster on whiff. It recovers 2 frames faster when it misses, so that's really good. And his jumping 2 has also had its hitbox adjusted. Honestly, I'm not sure what they mean by that. It was already a pretty bad move on grounded opponents, but for air to air it's very good because it does more damage. So if you do land a certain move up close, like this string right here, then jumping 2 can be a very good follow-up. It floats the opponent just enough for a 1-3 follow-up if they're close, and once again it also does more damage. So it's a great combo extender if the opponent's in the air, but in the neutral it's not a very good tool. I guess it could be a good air-to-air if you and the opponent both jump. You can catch them out of the sky if they're further away, but for the most part, it's strictly for extending combos. And there's also been a minor bug fix for Shotel Fury. So Kollector will no longer face the wrong way anymore after the first hit. There was a rare bug where the first hit would land, but the opponent would float over your head or something like that, and Kollector would not turn around, or he just faced the wrong way in general after the first hit, and now that's no longer going to happen, so a very good quality of life change. And one more nice bug fix is that his down 2 can no longer cancel into his fatal blow on frame 1. That was a weird glitch that Kollector actually had. I didn't know about it until now, but that does sound a little bit ridiculous to do down 2 into fatal blow right away, and now that's no longer possible. Which is technically a nerf, but I would argue that no character deserves to have something that powerful. And last but not least, his far teleport is now a little bit slower, so instead of 38 frames, it's now 42. So just a little bit slower. If I'm being honest, you're not going to notice it most of the time, but it is a little bit easier now for your opponent to react to and punish if they're paying attention. So just make sure not to be too predictable when teleporting, because if the opponent gets a read on it, they now have 4 more frames to catch you. Alright everyone, and that's about it for the Kollector changes. Once again, I think he's much better overall. His combo options are immensely better, and his hitboxes are also much better as well, and he has more options to keep himself safe on block, which was a very big issue that he struggled with. Now, do I think he's a top tier character? Well, that remains to be seen, and only time will tell, but at the very least, I do think Kollector mains are going to be much happier with him now. Thanks so much for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below. It really does help my channel out a ton. And while you're down there, please comment which character you want next. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.